There's two types of people who want to or are interested or try to learn another language or more languages. Well, no, actually, I'm only talking about us for a second language. There's one group that won't make any progress, and then there's the other group that's language learners. And I'll tell you what's different about these two groups. Because I've known lots of these fake language learners who, in talk, in their own language, are committed to learning a thing. And then there's this weird thing that happens where at every opportunity to practice, they avoid it, or every opportunity to learn. And I've got three people in mind right now: a woman I dated, a sibling, and a parent. All three of them are fucking terrified of being judged. But it's kind of funny almost because it's like none of the three of them sort of seriously acknowledge that. They do, but there's just this weird cognitive dissonance that they should be experiencing but are not. All three of these people knew me, who spoke, who speaks the second language that they want to learn. So for two of them, that's French, and for one of them, that's English. So you've got the siblings said, "Hey, I know I can be difficult sometimes, but when I get to France, please make sure that I speak French." Got a parent that said, "Hey, I'm helping you out financially. Please teach me French." And then you've got a woman that I dated for a little while, or was in my life for a little while, sort of, who was like, you know what? I want to book times, like an hour twice a week, while because it was long distance when she'd be at work, in another country. She had she would work in that other country, so. And so all of them seemed serious and would be insulted if you ever said, "I don't feel like you're taking the language learning seriously." And yet, all of them would get so uncomfortable and avoid at all costs interacting. And I feel like it's just really interacting in the target language. I feel like it's just really binary. It shouldn't be. It should be like a spectrum. So I guess most people fall on this spectrum, and I'm just thinking of me who's on one end and these three who are on the other end. I remember the girl I was dating one time. We were at a restaurant, I think in Portugal, and she said to the server, "Thank you," in English, which is her target language in general. And I was like, "Well, like you speak the only language you speak is French. The only language she really speaks is Portuguese. Like, why are you saying thank you when you know how to say obrigada or obrigado?" And she's, yeah, I remember anyway. I don't know what my point was. Maybe my point's just to talk shit because I'm frustrated. I think that was my point, actually. I think that was sort of the main mechanism running as I hit the record button. It was like, I need to vent to someone about all these people asking me to teach them a language, but having personalities that are too scared to do any of the things required to learn a language. Except for like look at a book maybe. But it's not going to help much. You have to actually be engaging in conversation. All right, so yeah. So hey, you want to learn a language? First of all, just check your personality. Are you someone who's easily embarrassed? Oh, okay. Then hopefully you're like 13, and so you can go take a language in high school or something, and just sit in the classroom and never raise your hand, and you'll get some of the basics until by the end of high school maybe you'll have enough knowledge to feel comfortable interacting with someone, and then you won't really maybe get an opportunity, or maybe you do, you go study abroad in France, and then Oh, everybody, other people are better than you, and people who are studying, who are in France, speak English better than you speak French. So, oh, why should I? And then you just end up talking in English to all of your fellow exchange students, and there's no possibility for you, actually. I don't think. I don't believe it's possible for if your first language is English, okay? Because other people have a very different perspective, because they are forced from a young age to learn English, and they're constantly exposed to English, and the importance of learning English is constantly like there. If you're in English, if that's your first language, lucky us, and we don't have those same pressures. So I'm really just talking to us. If you're scared of failing in front of people, if you're scared of admitting or saying when you don't understand something, do something else with your time, man. Do something else. Don't learn an instrument. Don't learn a language. Um, don't try anything new, obviously. Um, there's lots of stuff that you can do in life. And, do some of that stuff. Just don't do new stuff where you have to, like, learn a thing. And where people will be able to judge whether you've learned it every time you do or use the thing. When you have to do it while people are looking right at you. Don't learn anything like that. And then if you're someone who has less of a problem with being wrong in front of people, etc., etc., you got a little curiosity too. I mean, some of those people, they have curiosity, but, you know, the fear or whatever is just too big. Um, then hey, know that you can learn languages more quickly than like whatever the average is, because the average is fucked up by those people. Those people just want to learn from books and don't ever really are afraid to utter anything, and it's like stressful for them. Every time they have like a conversation, they talk language, it's like stressful for them. They're not learning as much even in that conversation as you would be if you're someone who is like who that just does not play as much of a role. The whole, what if I mess up? I don't understand what he's saying. Then you fucking ask. So, anyway, this video is just to say, if you have some guts, don't be discouraged by how long it seems to take to learn a language, because got some guts. I have students who um don't have guts. And it like would take me weeks sometimes to realize that the exercises and work that I was doing with them was well ahead of their level, because they just weren't saying, I don't understand anything that's happening right now. They just kept nodding, and they kept sort of getting the thing wrong. But then when I would say, okay, but do you understand this piece of it? It would indicate that they did, because they just want to like please me and keep up with the lesson. It's like, how are you going to keep up with the lesson though? When I came to France, I got mad at anybody who tried to use me to learn English. Like, what the fuck? Go buy a ticket, go to the US, go get an apartment in the US, and then you don't worry, everybody will be happy speaking English with you. Nobody's going to be speaking French to you, okay? I bought my ticket to come here to France. I want to learn French. Du coup, on parle français là. You don't get to just take advantage of every tourist to practice your English. I mean, some of them, sure, but I want to learn French. I had a notebook with me. I'd be in the movie theater, and well, I guess this isn't related to like courage or engaging with the material. Just anybody can do this, but just another tip. I love reading the subtitles of my target language, of having the subtitles of my target language and the audio in English. So for instance, sometimes I'd go to the movie theater in France, and it would be the original version, so the audio would be in English, and then it would have French subtitles. Oh my gosh, so awesome. You know what's being said, you see the words that say that. Amazing. So I'd be writing down in the dark the phrases that I would see in the subtitles. Hell, I've gone up to people and spoken Polish, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, German, obviously French, and then obviously English. But five languages that I am not at all comfortable in. And I go up and I start doing it. And then when they start responding quickly, I go, oh, sorry, I don't really speak this language. Um, and then you've got people who they claim to want to learn French, for instance, and then they're fucking speaking English to French in France.